Oh.
We should be live. I hope.
Was that just an just before he started?
I was test rolling my dice and I rolled 3 natural ones in a row.
Right.
Damn, that's impressive. Hey everyone, welcome to Rules Fun.
Hi.
We're playing Pathfinder. And if just now was any foreboding for today, it's going to be all horrible.
For my character.
For Aury, yeah.
So, anyway, last we left off, you made your way to Castle Noorgrim, where you have an assignment to kill the local vampire lord, who has managed to exchange his weaknesses for a weakness to electricity and a weakness to obsidian. So you got an obsidian sword, which would replace the wooden stake, and you went on your way. And then you met a bunch of ghosts, and were basically drained. One of you was drained of your sanity by said ghosts. One literally in-game affects the other figuratively by being swarmed by ghost bugs.
I don't like ghost bugs.
No one does.
You're just ghost bugs!
Fuck you.
So you went back to town, and now you went there again, trying to sneak up to the castle. 2 of you have been sighted and greeted by the butler, who was at the front gates. One of you is at the moment invisible.
Uh-huh.
Believe it or not, it's the guy in heavy plate armor.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, now that that's out of the way, why don't you all introduce yourself? And also tell me what your wisdom modifier is. Your will save modifier.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
And the actual question is one that I think would be very suitable for like a big moment, like a really like this recap moment. But I couldn't think of any other questions today, so it's gonna be now. What is your most memorable moment from traveling with this group so far?
Ah.
oh, damn it. Hi. I'm Merel. I'll be playing Alys, and I'm talking kind of slow because I'm also thinking. Alys is the alchemist, knowing things person of the group. I like to refer to her as the stabby bookworm. Her, as those of you who play Pathfinder may know, your will save is based on your wisdom modifier, which is portrayed right below. I think here.
I think your wisdom scores there, your modifier isn't.
Yeah, but with an 8, I have the lowest wisdom of the group. So my will, despite having a very, very, very high intelligence, my will save modifier is my will save is a 4. That is including a special bonus from Code. The codex that we met at the Guild of Heroes. So that Alys's favorite moment from traveling with the group.
Most memorable, not favorite.
Most memorable,
Fair
yeah.
enough.
There's been a lot of memorable moments. I think for Alys, it's a very recent one. Very recent one. I think it was Aury giving her the journal.
Oh.
Alys has been the smart person, the studious person everywhere. Nobody's ever understood it. And that very much for her was a sign like, hey, these people actually value what I can do. There is value in what I do and other people can see it. This is mine now. So it was a much bigger moment than just giving a journal. So yeah, probably.
Oh, I'm Robert. I'm playing Orgelmir, a giant gladiator who fights with a trident and shield, or two swords, which one of them is now obsidian, which is going to be very handy against this vampire lord, and a gun, which also helps against undead. My will, even though I'm the most wisest of the group, even though my full armor am the wisest, my will save is 2. Because armatures have decent fortitude and reflex saves, not that well on will saves. The class base is 1, so 1 plus 1 equals 2. So, I hope I'm not being brainwashed. And I'm so struggling with what the most memorable moment was, because it's moment. So,
Now you know the struggle I feel every time with trying to come up with a question here.
yeah, it's. I think the most memorable one is at some point when we were raiding that temple. Or did a lot of damage with 3 swords and was just not enough to kill. And then on the sonic damage, with only 2 points because I rolled 2 once on my 2 d6s, was just enough to kill the skeleton. So
well, I'm going to ask you a very annoying question now.
Yeah.
Is this the most memorable moment of Robert, or is this the most memorable moment of
Fair
Aury?
enough. From Robert, definitely.
Because I want to know the most memorable from Aury.
Fair enough. In that case, it's
we
throwing
don't care
Nix
about you. Sorry.
Yeah, we don't care about you. We only care about your character.
Fair enough. In that case, for Aury, it's throwing Nix in the water.
Fair enough.
Fine. You're hungover, right? I have a remedy for that. Stand here, close your eyes. Whoosh!
Yeah,
That was fun.
You're welcome. No,
or throwing Nix out of the carriage. Oh, I tried to jump him. That was also fun.
okay,
I think I'm going to get that
definitely
one.
throwing Nix then. Thanks.
Yeah.
Anyway,
speaking of which,
I'm H. Mills. I play Nix, resident shapeshifter elementalist, and for Nix, I think the most memorable moment is definitely gonna be our conversation with the hag about Nix's possible heritage. That's definitely gonna be on the top spot.
Yeah, that sounds pretty obvious. Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe
Reasonable.
in second place, maybe the time he got scared of the dog in the down in the temple and had to run away. That was also pretty. It's mostly because that was very frustrating for Nix afterwards.
For the people who haven't been watching us since the start, this dog was a mummified, dog-faced angelic creature. So it was not just a regular dog.
Yeah.
No, it was a scary dog.
I failed my will save back then. Hopefully, this time I will do better. Found a nice segue. My will save, Nix's will save, is a +6 because Nix as well really didn't want this to happen again and got a nice bonus from Cody, a +2 bonus.
6, 4, and 2.
Yeah, you were so worried about like the -2 on wisdom and that it would entirely ruin your will save and such. Like you would
need
still
someone who can
among
make
the highest. You would still have among the highest will saves in the party.
Yeah, but it would also be a problem if Nick started wailing on.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of will saves, you're about to enter Castle Noorgrim. And you may start by rolling me a will save.
Oh.
Oh god, this is proper terrifying.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. I'm glad I got those next one out of the way.
I am going to spend 2 points of inspiration on that because it's not a bad roll.
Oh damn!
Which means it's not a bad roll. But I have a feeling that this is not high enough, so I'm going to spend 2 points of inspiration to make sure that I can add a d6 to make it a good roll.
Okay.
That's a dirty 20.
Same.
Nice. I've got a 16 total. So maybe that -2 on wisdom would have mattered.
All right.
That's not bad.
Well.
Oh god, I'm already almost out of inspiration.
You've just arrived! How are you already almost out of inspiration?
I spent a point before in navigating us towards here.
Bad
Yeah.
management.
Right.
It was a good call back then.
The head butler, who has just opened the big doors of the entrance hall, kind of leads you inside. The entrance hall is pretty large and mostly empty.
Good.
It is very grandiose. It's very much to like show size more than anything. On both walls, between kind of pillars that half emerge from the walls, it seemed to be more for decoration than practical supporting the ceiling because they're basically in the walls. Between the pillars are a couple of paintings, and at the far end of the entrance hall are 4 doors. Well, actually, more like 3 doors. There are 2 closed doors on both sides next to the wall, and there is another large double door in the middle.
I'm gonna have to. I want to maybe try and prepare a bit more because I feel like combat might be on the way. And I do want to know how long did the spark rag last that we got? The effect.
3 rounds.
Oh, okay.
But you can apply it as a move action.
Okay.
All right.
That's good to know. Then I will be saving that.
Yeah.
But Nix is going to start concentrating on a nice double enhancement, and on his add his extendable tongue as well.
Right.
Do we see any of the entranced villages around the castle?
Yes, you see in this room there are 4 servants, basically standing in each corner of the room. They are standing perfectly still, and they're kind of just standing there with a smile on their face, almost frozen in place. 2 of them block the doors, block the side doors. They sometimes kind of seem to follow you, kind of look at you, but not a lot. They're not staring at you. They're not really looking at you. A momentary glance of them, but also not often, just once.
God, I should do something terribly stupid, but I'm not going to.
Don't.
I made my wisdom save. I'm not going to do a stupid thing right after we enter the door.
You don't know if you made your wisdom save.
I made a really good wisdom save. My impatience is not boiling over right now.
Fair enough.
We're 5 minutes in. Time to ruin the session. The butler walks to the large double door in this room, and quite effortlessly kind of swings it open. It seems to be quite well oiled. It makes no sound. It opens rather quickly. And behind this, you see what basically is kind of... It's almost kind of another hallway, or not so much another hallway, but another entrance room. And it once again puts in perspective that the first room here is purely to show how amazing and big and expensive this place is.
Mhm.
This room, from what you can see, has a lit fireplace in the back. There are a couple of comfortable chairs. There is a small bookcase, and there are 2 doors on either side of the fireplace. What do you do?
Do they also have servants standing in front of them?
Those doors, no. This room seems to be void of servants.
think I'm gonna do my stupid thing after all. I'll just sort of like look over my shoulder at one of the servants standing in front of the doors.
Yeah.
Male, female?
Mix of both.
Okay. I'll just sort of like want to make a general assessment of where I would think the doors lead. Can I do that?
Oh, jeez.
I mean, if no, that is also reasonable.
Knowledge. Architecture?
I'm pretty sure that that's not one that exists.
Good.
Well, then don't ask these questions. I would say knowledge history.
History. All right, that's great.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine.
Because this is a known place, so maybe you've read something about the time that it still was a monastery or something.
Yeah. No, I did not. That is a 13.
Okay, let's see. Yeah. I for a 13, I will give you that you think both from the knowledge check. You haven't read anything about this place specifically, but you have read a few things very quickly and then threw away the book about things like noble mansions and such.
Mm-hmm.
The doors with the servants in front of them are probably like kind of off-limit areas. And the head butler is kind of like guiding you through the areas that you're allowed to go into right now.
Yeah.
It is very much implied that you are not supposed to wander off.
Right. I'll stick with Nix in that case.
Right. Aury,
Mm-hmm.
what are you gonna do?
I am mostly focusing right now on staying invisible.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I don't have to step aside for servants or look at something, I will keep it like that. The moment I need to really watch where I'm going, then I'll want to spend the spell points. So I'm waiting for that moment.
Right.
I feel like concentrating on this is enough, and that it's not going to allow me to look around and do something.
No, not so much. Like you can decently, like you can look around, you can see some things around, but you cannot really inspect them.
Mm-hmm.
My question is mostly like, do you also follow the others, or are you gonna wait in here in this room, or leave?
I know I'm going to follow the others.
All right.
Don't leave, please.
That's what I was considering. I was considering getting a servant away from the door so that Aury could go through it. Once he left. But
yeah, it wouldn't. Don't think screwing up is a good idea. Is the butler still leading us onward?
Yeah, kind of after the butler opened the doors, he kind of went to stand next to it in very much this like, please go in way, but not saying anything because he is merely the butler. You're the guest.
I'll just sort of be like conveniently looking around and just casually make like the remark. This is some very elegant furnishings you have here. Very well maintained as well. I don't have the greatest eye for art, but it's really quite impressive.
Most of them have been bought from the previous owner. Suppose you have him to thank.
Can I keep an eye out for traps, even if I'm concentrating on keeping my magic going?
If you're concentrating, no.
Fair enough.
And I am not at all worried about traps.
Maybe you should be. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe I should be.
Do you enter the kind of waiting room that it basically is?
Yeah. So,
Right.
are there windows in that room?
No.
Right. In that case, walk over to the fireplace and just sort of like have a look over it, pretending to be admiring things and stuff.
Are you looking for something specific, or are you just looking at it?
I'm mostly trying to justify my looking around a lot.
All right.
I'll try and find a corner where no one's standing, and so I can have a best overview of the room.
Yeah, in this room it's pretty easy.
All right.
The room itself doesn't really have any servants in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that. So you can just find any corner and just go stand.
Yeah.
Two of the corners are very close to a door, so that would probably not be a good idea.
Preferably not that one. So one of the other two.
Yeah. So basically, you enter the room and immediately turn left and go stand in a corner there.
Yeah. It's mostly in a corner. It's the lowest chance that someone will bump into me, and if the vampire can see me, then probably looking into that corner specifically, like, okay, you can see me.
Yeah. Okay. The butler will close the doors behind you.
Right.
Is he
And
inside
say,
the room? Yeah, okay.
He is inside the room, yes.
Cool.
Usually we prefer to invite our guests for dinner, but I suppose that is a bit early for you now. Nevertheless, a breakfast will be prepared.
It's very kind of you.
Thank you. In a moment, I will ask you to come to our dining room, or, well, breakfast room, apparently, where you can meet the other visitors, as well as the master of this establishment.
What kind of moment? I'm very hungry. How long are we talking?
I suppose not too long. I will need to inspect if everything is ready, but I will be back here shortly.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
He leaves through the right door in this room from the way that you've entered.
Oh.
Right door.
And if you kind of glance in, you can see that there's a large dining table in the middle of that room.
Right. I have been looking around most of the time, but for now I'm doing a very clear, conscious survey. I'm trying to see if there's any devices or magics that are currently looking in on us.
Make me an investigation check.
Yes! That is a really, really shit roll. And I'm going to add inspiration on it, because in this case it is worth it. Because even a natural 3, again, turns into something pretty good. That's a dirty 20.
All right. As you look around this room, you kind of inspect mostly the corners, places where people wouldn't look. Actually, you do notice one thing. You notice a slight disturbance in the air in the corner of the room directly to your left. And it takes a moment that it's just like, what's that? But then you realize that is probably Aury.
I'm just gonna confirm it by just sort of like reaching up. And basically, like, I know about how tall Aury is, so like above, below. Okay, Aury, and continuing.
All right.
So you've just been patted on the head.
I don't think you can reach my head, darling.
Yeah. Maybe you've got a tap against your nose.
Maybe. Maybe.
If I reach up with my arm, I think Alys is also 175, which means her reach is about the same as mine, which is 2. What was it again? 240.
Yeah, but I think Aury is 10 feet tall. So
yeah.
That's a long way.
Regardless, you have been spotted.
Yes.
But luckily not by any vampires. Probably.
Hopefully.
It doesn't really seem like there's anything else in this room that would that seems to be hidden.
Should we take a look at what's behind these doors?
Keyholes. Yeah, you look through the keyholes first before you open the door.
Keyholes.
Keyholes. What did you think I was saying?
What you said, knee holes. Seems like a very interesting concept.
Those are only a thing in automatons. No, like drop in front of the door that did not that the butler did not go through.
Yeah.
Is there a keyhole?
There is a keyhole.
I would like to peer through it, please.
The room seems kind of similar to the one you're in now, but bigger. From what you can see now, it is clearly a large living chamber.
Right.
You can see some comfortable seats again. You see several tables containing books, newspapers, like a fruit basket. Also, something of note is that you can see natural light come through the windows. Come from somewhere. You cannot actually see the windows, but you can see like, hey, this room is more lit than is clearly lit from the outside.
Right. Is it empty?
That's a good one. From what you can see right now, it seems to be, but there's quite a big part of the room that you cannot see. And some of the chairs are also quite high, so like it seems to be empty, but it might be a big risk to assume it is.
If I listen at the door?
Sure, perception check.
God, I'm still rolling like this bad. I'm not gonna spend inspiration on it because I don't have too much left. It's a 15.
You don't hear any strange sounds, but it might be that you're quite close to the hearth fire, and the snapping of fire kind of disturbs your quiet that you would need to listen through a door.
Is the door locked?
Will you try?
I'm mostly want to like peer at the sides. Can I see like the lock block? Is it? What it's?
I want another perception. No, that actually feels more like investigation to me.
Yeah.
So I want another
please.
investigation check.
Yes, thank you. That is reasonable numbers. That's a 30.
Reasonable.
I only rolled a 2, so that's 30. So you know.
This is a plus 12 modifier for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's also probably something that Alys has done like countless times before. Like,
I'm not a burglar, okay? I'm not a burglar, but I'm considering passing off my wax key blank to Aury.
You're not a burglar, but you know how.
Yeah.
The more you say you're not a burglar, the less I
Aury
start to
is
believe.
carrying literally a sack full of burglar's tools. Because they're too heavy for Alys to carry. So, yeah, you have those on you.
Are you making me an accomplice?
No?
Like, they could be useful now if the door were locked, but it ain't. You very quickly look at it and you're like, nah, it's not locked.
Someone wanted to split off. This room seems reasonably empty.
Split off? Just open the door, have a look. We're looking for vampires. If we find one, we kill one.
Not sure we have time for that. But
Time until what? We're here to kill vampires.
it's all about like it's back. If we raise an alarm, there's a manhunt. Which might not be the best idea.
If we're gonna meet the master in the dining hall and attack him, then he will also know we're here. I guess it would be better if the master can't get away, but would he even try?
At least you may roll me another perception check.
Also a better number. That's a 24.
You hear a door open from the other side of the door. It's another door. There are apparently more doors in the room.
Alright. in that
Say
room.
you're looking for a bathroom.
We haven't opened the door yet.
No, you haven't opened the door yet.
So
I know. Just open it. Say you're looking for a bathroom.
fine. Why am I doing this? You're the charismatic one. I'll open the door, step inside, just sort of like looking around, and
All right.
walk into the other room.
There are two people here.
Right?
They have just come from a room, from another room that seems to be when you enter immediately to. I'm sorry, when you enter immediately to the left. They seem to be having to have had some sort of conversation, but they immediately stop when you enter.
I am
And they
so
kind of-
sorry. We've been walking for a while and we've had some water, and I really need to use the bathroom, and I really don't mean to be rude, but I didn't mean to. Just, I'm sorry.
I must sigh because I now suddenly need to add a bathroom to this map.
Because everybody forgets the
I mean,
bathroom.
It's
You
a pretty important thing.
Well, it's not something that you assume would come up because usually you
Yeah.
don't describe people going to the bathroom in
Yeah,
in RPGs.
Roll me a bathroom check.
Additionally,
No, I
Additionally-
veto that one.
this also brings up the question: do vampires need to go to the bathroom ever because they're dead? They should not have bodily
Yeah,
function.
but the thralls need.
Do they?
I'm gonna have you roll a diplomacy check to just end this conversation.
Fair enough.
Diplomacy.
This is not the one that I want to have right now.
Not great, not bad. 17. I am reasonably charismatic.
Mm-hmm. One of them, a man that would be best described by pointy, with a very pointy nose and chin and short stubble, and hair that seems to not be very well maintained because it seems to like very much be clustered in like just sharpish plucks of hair. Kind of squints and looks at you. The other one, a big man, with what seems to be you would swear a slightly reddish hue to his skin and stark white hair, just grunts and says, "The door at the back of the room." That's it.
Thank you so much. Quick question: are they displaying any signs of vampirism?
Knowledge monster check.
That's a free inspiration. Or die, you are punished. That's another 3. Which comes to a base 8 for an 18.
They don't seem to.
Alright. They are also standing in the light currently.
No, they're not.
Okay.
They're standing. They're kind of standing next to the light, basically.
The door that they pointed me to is not the one that they came from, right?
No.
Thank you so much. And I'll just sort of like hurry there.
All right. As you enter the room, you do indeed see that it is a bathroom.
Right. Yeah, I'll stay in there for the appropriate amount of time.
Right. In the meantime, the butler enters again into the room where Nix and Aury are now. And he enters and he looks around. Where has your companion gone?
You had to go to the bathroom.
Oh,
She'll be right back.
All right. We'll make sure that she knows where to go. If you could follow me, please. He will open the door in the south and kind of like gesture for you to enter.
Oh, let's just wait. She'll be right back.
All right. He
Would be
closes the
rude
door and just
to
kind of
leave without a lady.
uncomfortably stands to wait there.
Elise just sort of like runs back into the room moments later.
All right.
And then just sort of gets y'all straightens herself, and it's like this look that's very clear. She has done this exact thing, like running into her room and then realizing, oh shit, people are back and I have to behave again. Straighten herself up. She's done that far too many times.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
So that unconsciously she checks herself like for blood or dirt, but there's not, because she was just in the bathroom.
You did hear while running through the other room, you did hear one of the two people very quietly say something like, guest.
Sorry!
All right. Well, it needs to happen, I guess. He opens the door again. If you could please.
Of course.
Go in.
Nix will walk in front.
All right.
At least we'll leave some room for Aury to walk in between them.
And Aury will try to fill that gap.
All right. Aury, you do notice that this is the first time you went through a not double door in this castle.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite cramped. You not only do you have to duck, you also kind of have to go through it a little bit sideways. It's clearly not made for people of your size.
I think I see this in advance, right?
I'm sorry?
I see this in advance, right?
Yeah. You've been through doors like this more often.
I think you would notice the stone coming at your face.
But speaking as a person who is like daily walks through smaller doors, you develop like this instinct of going like.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna break concentration for this, I think.
No, you wouldn't. Like you can kind of concentrate on things and still do some like basic functions.
This is like second nature for tall people. I go whoop and then going on.
You enter into a dining room. It is a rather sizable room. It is about the same size. For Alys, it is about the same size as the room you were just in, even though you did not get a good look because you kind of ran through it. There is a large, long table in the middle, and it has a total of 16 seats. It has... No? Do I say it correctly? Yeah, I do. It has a total of 16 seats. It has 6 on each side, and then 2 on each end. At the moment, the first most notable thing is that in the corner of the room, the back right corner, from where you entered, lies a very large black wolf.
All right.
Is it actually a wolf?
Make me a knowledge monster or knowledge nature check.
Monster, please. 21.
It seems to be just a normal dog. Or wolf. Normal wolf.
Alright. Good to know.
I did give you a name. That's useful. Then I've written it down somewhere else wrong. There is, in the chair that is closest to the wolf, sits a pretty tall woman who has somehow both this kind of regal aspect to her, regal aspect, as well as kind of a savage part, a strange wildness. Directly opposed to her are two men, who both look pretty rough, who have this like regal look, but then instead of combined with being wild, they look rough. The butler enters and gestures to the table. Please take any seat you want.
Everything else is empty?
For now it is, yes.
Alright. I'll motion Nix like them. Are we entering on one of the long sides of the table?
You're entering at a short side.
Alright. In that case, I'll motion to Nix to walk along the side that only the woman is on. Shall we?
Nix will follow you.
All right. Aury will spend spell points to not concentrate anymore.
All right.
And I am going to the opposite side to stand in the corner. And specifically, I want to see if one of those three or the wolf follows me.
All right.
Their gaze follows
you are
me.
moving towards a corner with a door.
I don't want to stand next to a door, so
It's kind of there are basically only bad options. To your left is kind of okay, but that is pretty close to the door that you just entered. Like at the opposite side of the room to the left, there's a door. At the opposite side to the room on the right, there's a wolf. And to your direct right, there's another door. That door, the one to the right, has a servant standing in front of it.
All right. Then I'll just move slightly to the right, so not on the corner, but like in between.
All right.
And then looking if they follow me instead of, because I assumed that then the other two went left. Right?
Yeah, we went left along the table.
Yeah.
And I am definitely going to lead Nix all the way down the table to leave exactly one seat between us and the tall woman.
Yeah, so I'll just take 1 or 2 steps right and see if one of those 4, so 3 people and 1 wolf, are looking at me.
I'm sorry to be so annoying. The woman is sitting on the right because she's sitting close to the wolf, which is in the right back corner.
Alright, in that case, we went along that side of the table.
Right.
Okay, and I went the other way.
Do these people show signs of vampirism?
Knowledge monster check.
Can I get in on that?
Yeah, you can. Or if they've noticed you, they have not acknowledged it.
Fair enough.
I've got a dirty 20.
Yeah, me too.
From what it seems like, probably. There is the fact that there is that there's light coming through the windows on the south side of this room, but the light seems to be kind of filtered almost. It is at least not a clear window. You cannot really look through it. It only illuminates the room. So there could be like a countless amount of things that is on the other side of the room instead of natural sunlight. either that or these people are these vampires are resistant to sunlight, like their lord is. They do definitely have some traits that you see commonly with vampire spawn.
Continue on walking, and when Elise reaches like the seat that she's been eyeing, she wants to be close so she can hold conversation, but also keep distance, but in a polite way, and just turning on all the etiquette that she's ever learned. Though she hates it very much.
I'm
She'll
very
just-
happy that I spent the spell point on because Aury would be like, "What?"
She's just like straightened up and gives like a formal bow. It's an honor to make your acquaintance. Thank you for receiving us. My name is Alys and Nix. This is my friend. I'm just sort of motioning for you to
Nix.
introduce yourself. We're honored to be allowed to join you.
She kind of, I think, softly giggles would be the best way to describe it. And says, "My dear, I did not invite you here. I'm afraid that was the master of this establishment, which is not any of us here. Nevertheless, pleased to make your acquaintance. My name is Iritis,
Did you
and
repeat that?
these are Fenris and Victor."
Sorry.
Should I put the names in the Twitch chat? Maybe that's easier for everyone.
Ooh. Oh, I love those names.
I mostly didn't catch the first one, but yes, please do put them in. Iritis? I think I misheard that completely.
Lyric,
No, you didn't.
Fenris,
Iritis.
Iritis.
and Victor.
That's not
Pretty.
Oh my
Right.
god, now I'm
Vampires.
actually not gonna butcher someone's name in the notes.
For one.
I would have spelled Fenris correctly. That's the only one I've gotten right.
You would have
Nix is
spelled
with an
Victor
I.
wrong,
Yes, I would have spelled it with a C.
but it's like Victor, so
So,
it's not Victor, it's Victor.
Welcome to accents of people.
Yeah.
So do you live here?
We are, well, I think the best way to describe it is permanent guests.
Hmm.
To call this place our home would not be quite right, but
Are you voluntary
rarely-
permanent guests?
we are certainly voluntary.
All right, just checking.
Oh
I
no,
can absolutely imagine that this place is magnificent.
it is. You've only seen the first floor, I presume.
Not even all of it. And honestly, from the moment that when you stepped through the door, it's just been so impressive. And Elise will just go on a just start like all these pleasantries and niceties and compliments that nobody really means.
Mhm.
And actually, maybe some people do mean them. Presume Elise is very, very knowledgeable about a lot of these things. Just be like, that painting in the hall, was that painted by this and this person? And honestly, this style of crowning is so magnificent. I've always admired that, and just sort of get in a conversation on that because basically lower suspicion a little bit.
Are you though? Are you?
Hoping to.
Two strikers walk into a castle full of vampires.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Forgot to take up the badge.
I assume you kind of have done something like that to not make it obvious that you're strikers.
Yeah.
Because the idea was to like enter at least kind of stealth.
Yeah. Probably.
A servant in the back door, at the back door, suddenly steps aside. Steps aside more into the back left corner. The door is swung open into said servant.
Knocked out.
It's not actually knocked out, but that cannot be good for you. You cannot see the servant at the moment because there is a door in front of him, and six other people, 6 men, 2 of which Alys has seen in the other room enter.
Right, Pointy and Redskin.
They are yes. They are loud. They have no noble look to them whatsoever. They basically kind of stomp in. Alys, you can see that they've just come from outside and that some of their boots are still muddy. You would swear that your mother would be furious at these people.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah.
The last one of
even worse.
the last one of the bunch slams the door shut behind them. The servant who was standing in the corner now steps forward, and you can clearly see that that the slam of the door in his face was not great. Probably hurt him pretty badly, but he still has the same smile as before.
It's deep charm.
The 6 rabble-rousers divide themselves over the table. And Alys and Nix, you are now sitting in between, on one side, the one that you have apparently named Pointy, and on the other side is a long and lithe man, who basically sits down at this table, which has already been not so much prepared, but there are like a few basic things on it. Like sits down, immediately grabs a cup, grabs a bottle of wine, opens it, and starts pouring himself a drink before doing anything else, and puts it back and starts drinking. Basically, actually just chugs the entire first glass, then pours another, and then sits with that one for a bit longer.
Yeah, we're calling him Chuck.
How do Lyrich and the other 2 react to these rabble-rousers?
You might make me a sense motive check.
I wanna get in on this.
No, I'll make me a sense motive check.
Oh, that's not
Getting in on this, I have a feeling that I'm taking a penalty on this one.
Natural 20.
Right.
Or a 25.
That's good.
That's a 6.
So Alys and Nix are kind of like too startled with are kind of just too startled by the entrance of these people, and mostly the fact that they are now sitting right next to you.
Uh-huh.
And you cannot really see what the others are thinking. Aury, for you it's quite clear, because the moment that the door slams open, you see them all kind of go like. They very clearly do not like them necessarily, or at least do not like them here.
Fair enough.
You also get the sense that this is something that has happened before, and probably often.
It probably will happen again in the near future.
3 days.
Exactly. Yeah, go ahead.
No, gonna continue to play this on pleasantries. So striking up a conversation about any other, like previously, like starting up a conversation about what I have already seen, And I'm trying to turn the conversation towards anything that I have not seen.
All right. You're trying to have this conversation with whom exactly?
Mostly like the 3 vampires.
All right.
Which I presume they are. The numbers match too well as the signs that are displayed. So whoever has been most responsive to the original conversation, which I presume is Iritis.
Yeah, mostly because you.
Yeah.
I thought you did, talk to her basically.
Mostly to her, probably.
Yeah.
So there's now a person in between, so I'll just that's very delicate, just sort of lean forward. This is so not normal, Alys, but she feels like she has to. So she just leans forward and tries to continue the conversation with Lenny mostly.
All right.
And do you have more of these pieces? If you have a gallery, I would love to see it.
You start to have a bit of a conversation, a little hard with the loud people around you, and suddenly you hear from on the opposite table, one pokes the other. The other is a very big man. Says "Hey, we've got guests." And the big man is like, "What? Oh, we've got guests! Oh, great guests! Hey, guests! Yeah."
Does Larry respond to this?
By basically, you see her jaw clench, but she doesn't really clearly respond.
Okay. In that case, I will respond to whoever is now noticing that there's guests and turn the same friendly charm on them.
Right.
Thank you so much for welcoming us. My name is Alys. Alys Cypherful, but you can call me Alys, it's fine. This is Nix.
Hi.
He doesn't say much.
They kind of... Oh, we've got one of those as well. Yeah. They all start to introduce themselves one by one. The one that you called Pointy.
Yeah.
Is apparently actually named Isaac. There is Bernal, who is the really big man who basically sits not exactly opposite to you, but almost opposite to you. Exactly opposite to Nix. Who has somehow, even though there's no food on the table, apparently took his own fruit from somewhere else and is already eating. Apparently has no manners whatsoever, and spends most of his time laughing very loudly, and eating, and sometimes both. The one with the slightly reddish hue is apparently called Ian. The one who's sitting next to you, the long and lithe one, who immediately grabbed a drink, is called Thornley. Sorry, Thornley.
Thornley? Alright.
There is a quiet man who is seems to be far more watching than speaking, constantly wringing his clammy hands and seems to lick his lips, called Colgan. And finally, there's Aaron, who seems to be a bit smaller than the rest. Who's constantly seems to always be fiddling with his fingers.
And people, guys. Well, 9 people and a wolf. And some servants.
Okay. One servant in this room, right? At the moment?
At the moment, there are 2 servants and a butler.
Yes. Okay.
The head butler is still standing here.
Heavily outnumbered.
Do these rebel rousers look tough, or?
Kind of depends. There are a few of them. You know what? Make me a perception check.
That's a natural one.
I mean, one of them certainly looks heavy.
Hmm.
The others, most of them don't look too strong.
What I get for a natural one. Hmm.
Are they carrying weapons?
Ooh, that's a good one. Perception check.
13.
Eh?
13.
All right. I mean, at least one of them is carrying a battle axe. Has carried a battle axe into the room. It is Ian. It is something that you only really notice now. Like, oh wait, that person has a battle axe. That is not usual for people inside these kinds of buildings.
Yeah.
From the others, you don't see if they're carrying any weapons, but provided that one of them has an axe and is clearly like not hiding it, probably.
I will turn to, I think it was Bernal who started talking to us, right? Who was
Yes.
like, guess. So I'll just sort of turn to him, like, are you guests here as well?
I want to say he starts laughing. That's not really what happens because he was already laughing. He now starts laughing more directed at you. Says, "Oh no, no, we're not guests. No, we're the guard."
Oh! My apologies. I should have noticed immediately. I am so oblivious. Nix can tell you all about it. I do not notice anything like this. It is honestly quite hilarious.
No
I'm trying to involve you in the conversation without making, while basically getting nothing back. So you don't have to say anything. You'll basically she just sort of continues on in the conversation, but it seems like you're part of the conversation. Guarding this place, oh my god, that is such an important job. Wait, does that mean that the entire place is currently unguarded? Are we safe?
Oh no, don't worry about it. They're
We're very safe, I'm sure.
we're very safe in here. You've got nothing to worry about. We're not so much the lookout. We are more, the people that come running or stumbling when things go wrong.
Oh, okay. I mean, that does sound very reassuring. I'm very glad to know that such friendly people are watching over us.
The conversation continues for a short while. When
Elise
suddenly,
is definitely trying to endear herself to mostly the guards right now.
All right. When suddenly, the head butler makes kind of a coughing sound. Ladies and gentlemen, the master is about to arrive. And not really giving you any time. By the time he has finished the sentence, the back door through which the guards came opens again. And in steps a man dressed in very fine, noble clothing, but also somehow quite simple, like not adorned. The guards, as well as the guests, immediately fall silent. And you hear the ticking of this man's boots as he walks to one of the two end tables that is currently left empty. He sits down takes a wine glass. I would like to welcome our new guests. I'd assume there were 3 of you. I assume the final one is yet to arrive.
Unfortunately, he had to return. We encountered some horrid spirits on our way here. And had to return.
He appears to be quite scared of ghost bugs.
All right. We'll let him know if he arrives here unexpectedly that there is a chamber freed up for him.
That is incredibly generous of you. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Good. Now that we're all here, I would like to officially welcome our guests with a meal. And he claps in his hands, and the door in the back that seems to just be like from now it has opened often enough that you can kind of get an idea of what's behind there. It seems to just lead to a hallway, so probably most of the things that happen go through that door. And servants start pouring in with plates of meals, absolutely unfit for breakfast. It's basically just a full dinner that you're getting here.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry, who has to watch this all.
Is there fish?
That's a good one, actually. It's not really a good one.
I mean, we're Tigers. We're used to having a heavy breakfast.
There is fish. Not that much, but there is some.
We're Strikers. We're used to having good meal in the morning, small meal in the evening. This is actually better. Alys will give the proper marvels about the food. Oh my god, that looks absolutely delicious. Yada yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
She has realized that Aury is not here, so she is going to have to be the party face for a bit.
Right. You may make me a small talk check. Just give me a diplomacy check.
Right. Please, die. You have been rolling terrible. Roll well. Thank you. I'm so proud of you. It's not an Alys number. It's decent. It's not an Alys number. It's a 23.
Not an Alys number. Sure.
Alys numbers are 30 or above.
25 or above.
And 25 or above. Fine. You have a conversation. You notice that the master, who fits all descriptions you have of Stallion Reed, is quite interested and kind of sometimes also ask you questions. Not anything serious, kind of like a bit of like more opinions on things. Not so much asking like where do you come from, what's your past, and those kind of things.
Yeah.
Kind of respectable questions that you would ask strangers. Not tell me your life story.
Yeah, and I mean, Alys will likely, with the Lord clearly being interested, this is his mansion, so it probably goes back to art and architecture. So she has seen a fair amount of noble mansions. So she can just hold conversation about art topics and things like that. But she will also continue to very casually wheedle information about what other rooms there may be. Things like a gallery or something. Or guest rooms with beautiful art pieces. Or Something like
You
that.
notice that he. I accidentally turned off my sound. I should not do that.
You should not do that.
You notice that he knows this mansion very well. Like you've met your fair share of nobles. There are a lot of nobles that don't even really know what is in their house exactly, and that like there is a piece of art somewhere and they don't really know where it comes from, and they don't really like it, but it's expensive, so they bought it and put it there, or let servants do it. This man, or this vampire, seems to very much know what's going on in his house, and seems to very kind of talks about all the art pieces that you can name. Basically, can describe where they came from, can describe what exactly they depict, what their basically just what the history of their creator is, of the artist, as well as what then would probably be the actual meaning of the piece. And also why he placed it in a certain location.
I think that at some point, Alys will actually just. This is another conversation. She'll generally start like, oh my God, why am I having such a good conversation with someone I'm supposed to hate?
Hate? You have to kill him.
You don't have to hate him. You just have to kill him.
Oh God, no. Yeah, she is genuinely enjoying this conversation.
He will also tell you that in the rooms that like spread around the rooms that you are that are like what he calls the guest rooms, that there are art pieces spread around, and there is a small gallery because they had some space left in a hallway that they decided to put a gallery there. There is a small gallery where a few artworks are displayed.
Once that gallery is mentioned, she will just perk up. I love it all. I mean, I know Nix is not one for pieces of art, but if you or someone else would see an opportunity to give me a tour of this gallery, that would honestly be amazing.
That is absolutely a possibility. I'm sure that Lyra here would love to show you around in a short moment. After dinner, excuse me.
Of course,
after breakfast, of course.
Of course. I didn't mean to imply right now. It is mostly whenever it's convenient. I get so carried away when talking about this. Good conversation, really just... It is rare to have such lovely conversation.
Not a word about that was lied.
No, it was definitely an exaggeration, but all of it is half-truths. All of it.
Yeah.
You have never interested yourself in talking about things about art with Alys, and no. We could have had lovely conversations about poetry, but no, you were instead teaching Nix about how to be giant. Or how to read at all. Not giant, but, you know.
Let's have Aury also. Let's also give Aury something to do, shall we? Hey Aury, how long does your invisibility last?
Concentration. And if I spend a spell point, it's 1 minute per cast level. So at some point, I have to concentrate on it again.
Like at some point, your cast level I think is 3 or 4.
3 or something. Yeah. I think 3.
Yeah. So the first 3 minutes pass.
Yeah.
Dinner takes like half an hour.
Yeah. So at some point, I have to concentrate on it again.
I'm going to tell you that you're going to be really tired if you concentrate on a spell for half an hour.
Right. Okay. Is one of the doors open?
It would seem that Muriel has something about this.
Yeah.
If there,
There's not a door that. Well, give
Go
me a
ahead, go
moment.
ahead.
There's not a door that is at the moment open, but there is a door that quite often opens, which is the back door into the hallway. Um,
It's on
and
the
you're
other side of the
quite
room? Or?
it's on the opposite side of the room, but you're quite sure that if you can get there, the moment that a servant enters or leaves, you can very easily like just slip by them and enter there, because they enter with plates and like basically their hands full, so they very deliberately like have to open the door and then move through,
Mhm.
and then either turn to the table or turn back and then close it. Like it takes time.
Yeah. So in that case, at some point, he's going to walk to the back door and wait for one of the servants to walk in, and then very quickly move through it.
All right.
Or he's going to try and sneak into the castle.
Finally!
You're standing in a hallway.
All right.
It extends a bit to the left and a bit farther to the right. Immediately opposite of you is like you enter and I assume you immediately step aside to not stand in the
To
door.
make sure to not stand in the doorway, yeah.
Immediately opposite of the door that you just came through is the door that is currently open, and you can both hear and smell what is behind there.
The kitchen.
There's the kitchen.
Yeah, I don't need to go there.
To your left, there's a door at the same side of you that presumably enters into the room that you saw Alys enter before, and also so presumably has the bathroom.
Okay.
There's a stairway up to your left.
Mm-hmm.
And to your right, all the way at the end of the corridor, is another door.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a bit of the side door, kind of a room next to the kitchen.
I don't think I need to go to the kitchen or the side room there. Probably like a storage or something.
Yeah, I would tell you know enough about buildings that the room next to the kitchen is probably the storeroom.
Yeah. So I'm trying to sneak up the stairs.
All right. You know what? You might give me a stealth check.
I think this helps me a bit.
It helps you quite a bit, yeah.
Because I don't have my armor penalty, which is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I also gain a circumstance bonus to stealth checks per caster level.
Mm.
Okay. That is a very quick math, and I'm very bad at math.
Your cast level would be a +3, I assume.
Yeah, it's mostly ignore the -4, ignore the -10. So, okay, it's only plus.
Don't you have stealth on your sheet somewhere?
Yeah,
Maybe
but
there a number with it.
Yeah, but it's automatically also uses my armor check penalty.
Don't you have a spreadsheet for these kind of things?
No.
I'm quite sure that it does show you your armor class check penalty somewhere.
Yeah,
but it doesn't matter.
Armor check penalty is -8. So +3, +4,
Should
plus
just be a
so I get a
dex
+6.
bonus plus your cast
I get
level bonus, right?
Total of +6 to my stealth.
Alright.
And I rolled a 13, so it's a 19.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah. You make it up these stairs. Like you yourself don't make any sound, but you must be very careful to not have one of the floorboards creak.
Yeah.
You move upstairs and you stand on a you enter the going to say this once right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care where this is correct and where this is incorrect. I'm just doing this for consistency's sake. Ground floor, first floor, second floor.
Oh,
Alright.
All right?
I meant the
Cool.
first floor right
So
now.
you're now entering the first floor.
Okay.
And you're standing on another large hallway, and there are several rooms to your right and your left, and on both sides of the on like both ends of the hallway there's a door, and there are 6 more doors spread around.
Oh, a lot of guest rooms, I think.
Have a look.
Yeah. Are there any servants around?
There don't seem to be at the moment.
Is there like a broom closet somewhere, like a storage closet, anything?
Right here, as you can see, for now, you only see 8 doors in the hallway.
Okay. I'll just check my first door on the right and just check it for a second. So very quietly open the door.
Yeah. It seems to be a guest room indeed.
All right.
It seems to be a prepared guest room even.
Okay.
As if they were expecting guests.
I'll walk in, close the door, and drop the claimer for a second, like, I am made for this shit.
All right.
And I think at that point, I will just, in the same way, try to inspect every room. So every room, check if there no one there, right? Go in, breathe out for a second, and turn invisible again. Oh no, I can do that. Shit, I can't do that because I have to spend a spell every time. Fuck.
Yeah.
Do that. Oh, what did I do?
You know what?
Mm-hmm.
Let's give you a little bit of time to think.
Thank you.
And let's take a short break
Good.
of about 15 minutes.
Hello.
So we will back at 1:45.
All right.
See you.
See you.
in a bit.
cold.
We arrive!
Hey everyone, we're back.
All the way around.
We left off at an exciting moment. We're gonna
Too ex-
start again at an exciting moment.
Too exciting.
Uh,
I had to like change shirts because it was just too intense.
I
Yeah.
was getting cold shivers, so I had to put on something warm.
D&D is a physical sport.
Yeah.
It really is. It really, really, really is.
And this isn't even
Oh,
D&D. Anyway, Aury, let's just
Yeah.
continue with you. You find yourself in a prepared guest chamber. You can mostly notice that it's prepared because they have put things down here that like smell nice.
All right.
So it's in addition to the game to that the chamber is just made. It's also
Alright.
been prepared in a way that won't last long.
All right. So I'm turning visible again, and very quickly think, okay, I can't keep sneaking.
Do you
Can't
spend
just-
spell point for that?
I am turning visible again, or I'm not
No.
turning invisible. I'm turning visible again in the guest room.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So
yeah.
I drop the illusion. Okay. What do I do? Can't. And I check because I'm still have my own pack. What I have as striker, but I also have Alys's stuff and realizing okay, and I'm looking at Alys's stuff and I'm trying to find the most small thing I can find in it.
Would likely be the glass cutter. Either that or the wax key blank.
How big is that?
I mean, key blank is like it's a box with some clay in it, basically, that you can press a key into and have someone pour like metal in it. So
Oh,
have a silver
that's the
imprint.
smallest one?
That is the smallest one. Either that or the glass cutter, which is basically like a needle with a on a string with other pieces around, so you can basically cut like glass in a circle.
Oh, is that really small?
Yeah.
All
And
right.
it's basically if you it's wrapped up in like this piece of leather, and if you unbundle it, like you will likely cut your hand on it.
Okay, with a small piece of leather, like okay. Okay.
That is one of the smallest things.
Okay. Then another question: is there something that does not draw your attention immediately, or looks most common?
There is a bundle of string in there.
Huh. All right.
String, a python. Everything else is very, very clearly
All right.
made
Then
with a particular purpose in mind.
okay. I'm gonna trust, and then probably I'm gonna trust Alys in this, and I grab a piece of string, bite some of it off, and I try to very carefully tie the piece of string around the knob of the door on the outside.
The outside of the door.
Yeah.
While being visible.
Yeah.
Make me a perception check.
There's no doorknob.
You check the bag, right? You check the contents of the bag, right?
Yeah, 17.
You hear footsteps coming from the hallway as you are like about to open the door.
Fuck. I will. Is there like a corner in so I can? So if someone opens the door, they don't immediately see someone.
Yeah.
All right. Then I am going to wait behind the corner, and I ready a sleep file.
All right.
So if a servant walks in, I immediately put it under their nose.
All right.
I would wait until they spotted you, but yeah.
The footsteps come closer.
Mhm.
And suddenly they stop. And you hear a knock at your door.
Oh boy.
I will not say anything yet. Just wait.
It's a moment of silence.
Mhm.
There's another knock.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna... Fuck it, yeah. Okay, put the sleep file back. And... Yeah, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try
This
to
is
keep...
where I parked my car.
I try to fake my most blank face. Like, not knowing what's happening. And very slowly open the door.
There is a servant on the other side.
Mhm.
With a smile on his face. Do you say something? Or act in a certain way?
I try to keep my face as blank as I can.
Right, make me a bluff check.
Yeah. I was afraid of that, but I'm not too bad at those. Alright, that's an 18.
Cool. The servant smiles. Ah, sir. We had expected you to arrive earlier,
I am
but
not
no
qui-
matter.
I am
You
not
are here
quite
now.
I am not quite sure how I got here. I was walking and then I was walking further and I had no idea where I was going, but I knew where I was going and I ended up here. How did I end up here? But I feel
Oh, that's
very
all right.
happy. I feel very happy. Hi.
If you could follow me downstairs, please.
I will.
The others should still be busy with their breakfast.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Sorry. They don't say the others. They specifically state your friends.
Okay.
They specifically state your friends should still be having their breakfast.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And they will walk downstairs.
Did I just walk into a guest room? Or what? Where did I walk into?
Will you follow this person or not?
Yes. But
Alright.
we'll ask him that question.
You did indeed. You have indeed entered a guest room, but no matter.
What was it?
We had prepared those rooms for you anyway.
For me personally.
Yes, for you personally.
Okay, Robert's celebrating that I luckily walked into the right room. That's fair enough. And I'll just try to keep the bluff up like I am mind possessed and
Right.
just very happy.
I think they're a hive mind. At least he knows it different.
I don't know if they're in a hive mind. But
One way to
he
find out.
he opens the door into the dining room and like gestures for you to enter.
It's behind us, right? So we not immediately see Aury walk in. Right?
No, you are. It's like in your cone of vision.
Okay.
Aury,
Mm-hmm.
you do notice that in this room currently is also the head butler has come from a side room and sees you, and you see him walk to the kitchen, like knock on the kitchen door. That's open, so it's clearly like announcing that he is there instead of anything else. It's like, it would seem we have a latecomer. You hear a voice from the other side. Ah, damn it! Right, fine. Send someone in. Just give me a moment. I will prepare some more. Big eater. You see the head butler look at you.
I just smile.
I would assume so. Yes. All right, fine. And then you are let's into the dining room, where Alys and Nix are also sitting now.
Come here! So glad you managed to find your way here.
I did not know how I got here, but I'm so happy you guys are here. I'm so happy to be here. Oh wow.
Alys will start making introductions around the table to like.
You've already called all the names, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
Can I make a perception check to see if Nix believes, or I'm not sure if it should be perception
sense
believes
motive.
that he's sense motive that he's mind control?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Oh, I actually rolled. It's a 16. That's pretty good.
I'm gonna give you a slight bonus because you know each other.
Yeah.
Orgelmeier is faking this.
Good.
And you think that it's actually quite convincing. No one really seems to acknowledge it.
That he would be mind controlled, or that he is.
Either.
Taking it. Okay.
They don't really seem to like treat him any differently than they treat you.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, Nix will have relaxed a little, that stopped concentrating on his magic effects to strengthen himself. Like, okay, this is not the time and place to start a battle, and they don't seem to be openly hostile or attacking us. Nobody seems to be mind controlled yet. It's a shame about the potion of intensify self, but at least we know what it does. And Nix will also start making small talk a little with the guards.
At least we'll mostly keep the vampires occupied.
Yeah. It seems to very clearly be the noble is talking to the nobles, and the lower class is talking to the lower class. Like it's also the type of conversation that you're having.
Yeah.
That
The only difference is that Alys is basically separated from the nobles by guards. There's like this thin line of guards.
yeah.
Is there the guard to her right still?
Yeah. You like every one of you noticed that the guards are really out of place here. But they're here, and apparently they are important enough to also join dinner, or in this case breakfast, with the guests. So yeah, your 3-course breakfast is eventually served. You know what, Alys and Nix, why don't you both make me another diplomacy check? See if you can figure out anything else. Aury, in the meantime, what are you doing?
I'm trying to blend in mostly with the guards. So
Right.
trying to be mind controlled and seeing them, okay, I think they are. Can I very quickly check if they all are mind controlled or they just here to free will?
Make me a sense motive check.
That's good. That's
Nice.
23.
All right. From what you've seen so far, there seems to be the pretty big distinction between the mind-controlled people with like the constant smiles and almost like just going through their tasks.
Mm-hmm.
These guards are not mind-controlled.
All right.
It is very clear to you that they are enjoying themselves way too much.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like joking. They're also just being very loud and obnoxious,
Mm-hmm.
which is not something that you would assume Sally and Reed would have a mind controlled person do.
This is what I wanted to distinguish, because if they were mind controlled, I would have joined in like the abundant eating and drinking and shouting of them. But they're not mind controlled, so I just do like service and go very casually eating, very wondering looking around.
You will get a comment of one of them who basically just blunt out says to you like, "You're acting like an idiot." They don't really do anything with it. You don't get anything out of the conversation.
Okay.
Alys and Nix.
12.
I've got a 5.
Oh,
Right.
We're
Nix
just
is very
thrown by Aury.
Yeah.
Great division of roles, guys. Nix, it's mostly that the conversation between these guards and you, like sometimes it's hard to get in between because they clearly have like inside jokes between themselves. They're mostly just messing around, and you don't really get to know anything useful. At least most of the things that have been said have already been said.
And also, Alys is getting exhausted with this conversation.
Yeah. Eventually, dinner is finished.
Breakfast.
Excuse me, breakfast is finished. Like, this is the thing that basically everyone at the table makes that mistakes a couple of times, that they say dinner and then have to correct to breakfast. This is clearly a very unusual situation.
Can I make this sense motive? I would like to know if the guards are aware that they are serving a couple of vampires.
Yeah, make me a send motive check, but this is a hard one.
Yeah, I know.
Like you're looking for something that they are not really busy with.
It's not my best skill. Come on.
Is that a natural 20?
Natural 19.
Okay.
425. Because as I said, this is not my best skill.
Yeah. Ooh. You're not quite sure exactly if they know specifically that they are serving a vampire, because there's not really a tick or a like trait or way of acting that people have that is like, I know I'm serving a vampire and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
There isn't.
Mostly, are they aware that while we may be having breakfast with them, that we're gonna be dinner or something else?
You don't really get that idea. You kind of get an idea of like a few of the jokes that they make are rather crude and perhaps a bit morbid. The only thing you can really get from that is that you don't know whether they know that they're serving a vampire or a couple of vampires. You get to know that they know that there is clearly something wrong, like the way they treat the servants is as mindless objects, because that is basically what they are.
Okay.
And you get the feeling that they know they're serving someone who is not a good person, but don't really care.
Right. That is about what I wanted to know.
All right. At the end, after the aperitif and the usual evening, but now like about afternoon coffee, it is Stallion who stands up and turns to you all and says, "Thank you for joining me during this breakfast. It was a pleasure to meet you. I hope you will enjoy your stay here. I am sure that Lyrich will be pleased to show you your chambers. I hope that they are to your liking. If there's anything you need, do not hesitate to ask one of the servants. And for now, wish you a good day. And I will probably see you again. You are, after all, visitors to my house."
Thank you so much for your warm welcome. And you have a good day as well. Like, God, Mill kind of come to words, but at least will.
Yeah, it's fine. he will then leave. Names. Bernal, who has somehow Aury. This man is not a giant, but has eaten at least as much as you have.
Damn impressive.
And he like just slams his fist on the table, or both of his fists, and says, "Well, guess we're off to then. Wish you a pleasant day indeed.
Okay.
Have fun. There's enough to do at the castle.
Can imagine so. Thank you for. It was lovely to meet you.
Sure it was." And he shoves back his chair. It falls over. He doesn't put it back up. He lets the servant do that. And he walks out, and so do the other 5. And you're left here with the vampire spawn and the wolf.
Alys will just try to pick back up the conversation where it left. So,
Right.
Try and keep on pleasantries.
You don't really get a response back.
Okay.
You try to, but not really. And almost immediately after the guards left, Lyric stands up and looks at you with clearly a fake smile. Let's show you your chamber, shall we?
That would be delightful. Thank you very much. Follow.
Keep the smile up and follow.
Yeah. She leads. I assume you follow. The 2 other vampire spawn follow you as well.
Does the wolf also follow us?
Not at the moment.
Huh.
Not as far as you know, at least.
It gets straight.
You go out of the room to your left.
I will look my arm through Aury's. And just sort of grab him, my arm. It's basically so that he can continue to play mind controls, but have a logical reason for being. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm looping my arm through Aury's for now.
Right.
Okay. I was actually hoping this would happen.
Yeah.
And I will keep the smile up and say, "Oh, honey, not in front of our hosts."
Yes, thank you. It's fine, dear. And just as we're walking past things, just ask, just marvel at this column or that curtain or something.
I mean, you're basically moving through 2 hallways, so there's not much columns or curtains, but that's fine. There's a painting every now and then.
Nix will start concentrating on a simpler enhancement again that doesn't cost any spell points, just to be sure.
Lyric guides you upstairs and shows you to your chambers. It's basically as you walk upstairs, the 3 chambers that are on your right.
Yeah.
On the right side, one of which Aury did enter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me a moment. It is actually your chamber that you managed to enter.
Great job.
And now that you think back to it, it is surprising that you just entered a random chamber and it had a chair and a bed that was perfectly fit for your size.
Yeah.
But you were at the moment busy with other things.
Yes.
And she tells you that on the other side of the hallway are more guest chambers. The door straight ahead of you leads to the bathroom and the gallery.
Mm-hmm.
And through the gallery, you can get to another hallway that has a library and kind of an I have written this down somewhere. A common room, common and entertainment room attached to it. There are also more doors. There are also more doors there that are locked, and she very specifically asks you to please not try to enter those chambers.
We would never intrude on your hospitality.
Excellent. Now, to the south of this hallway that we are in now, there are servant rooms. Servants would be pleased if you could not enter those. And also would request you to not use any other stairs than the one right here or the one next to the gallery in emergencies.
All right. That seems no more than reasonable.
Excellent. She looks around and sees a servant, or is kind of looking for a servant. The servant that is standing in this hallway, kind of keeping watch. The one that Aury you have encountered earlier. And she turns to him. My dear, could you please run to the pantry and fetch me a glass of red wine? I am awfully thirsty. And the servant goes, Of course, my lady. I will be right back. And moves down the stairs. Lyric turns to you, Alys. The look on her face has changed entirely. She has dropped any pretension. She is not smiling anymore. She is looking you dead in the eyes. And she moves closer and says, Right now, listen up. Our Lord has an unusual interest in you. And I do not like it. We will not have our position taken from us. If I were you, I would watch your back.
I mean,
We are
I
powerful.
always do.
Excellent. Then we know where we stand.
Clearly.
And she turns around and walks down the stairs. And the other two follow. And now here you are, alone in this hallway with 3 guest chambers. Or actually 6, but 3 of them you weren't shown.
Quick look around. Is there anyone watching us?
At the moment, there doesn't seem to. Wait, make me a perception check.
Natural 17 for a 23.
At the moment, there doesn't seem to.
All right. Where were those locked doors again, exactly?
I'm sorry?
Where were the locked doors? Were they those on the ground floor at the side of the entrance hall? Is that the... You
All right.
mentioned locked doors that we weren't allowed to enter.
Oh yeah. You are now standing. You're now standing in a hallway, and there is then. I hope this is the right direction for you guys as well. It's basically a hallway, and then there are chambers here, and then there is this is the wrong way around for you. Never mind. There are 2 parallel hallways, and one of them has the guest chambers. That's the one you're in now. And if you then move through the gallery, apparently, you get to another parallel hallway that on one side has the chambers of the vampire spawn, and on the other side has the has kind of like more entertainment chambers, a library and a common room.
There's a floor still above this, right?
From the outside, you know that there's a floor still above us. You have yet to find a stairway that leads there, but then again, you've only seen this hallway in this floor. And they obviously did not put any stairways to the top floor in the guest chambers.
So, Time to look around.
I think that maybe a moment's respite in our rooms might do us some good before we start our escapades in exploring this beautiful, beautiful mansion. Castle?
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, we should probably enter one of the guest rooms.
Do you enter the same room? Do you all enter different ones? Okay.
Definitely, probably all the same one for now. Close the door and start like fully inspecting the room.
Oh, my
Make me-
jaw muscles hurt.
Your jaw muscles hurt. Your jaw.
Make me an investigation check.
Oh,
You want proper Alys numbers? 31 without inspiration.
mm.
Great. There doesn't really seem to be anything like hidden or strange in this room. It seems like a very normal guest room that a wealthy noble would have.
All right.
Right.
What do the windows look like?
Oh yes, there are windows in this room. They are clear. They cannot be opened.
Do open, make sure that the curtains are properly open. And after just being done with like this angry investigation of the room, just sort of like flop down on the bed.
Okay. So I was visible for like 10 seconds, and then that servant knocked on the door. There's some freaky shit going on here.
There is a lot of freaky shit going on around here. The guards
and
don't seem to give a shit that the guards don't seem to give a shit that these vampires are luring us in. I thought I was done with playing these bitch fights with noble women, but apparently vampires also love to play them. So here we go
and
again.
apparently we're a couple now.
Yeah, that was actually a point I wanted to make. Separate rooms is tremendously dangerous because we cannot keep watch. That's why I kind of started it. I don't see a way to
it's
get
still
politely
quite
get
early.
mixed. Yeah,
So I don't. Yeah.
I don't see a way to politely get Nix into the same room.
Nightmares, and he wants to sleep in the bed with us.
Guys, we don't always need to defend what we're doing.
Oh, that's true. That actually works fine. That actually works fine. All right. Yes.
It did take me back though, sneaking into like a mansion. Mostly I was sneaking out.
I usually snuck in.
I'd really like to see you sneak sometime, but anytime you're sneaking, you're basically.
You can't
Yeah.
see me.
That's kind of the point.
If you can see me sneaking, I'm not very good at sneaking, am I?
No, but I don't expect you are, normally. Anyway.
Well, who got in undetected? Huh? Huh?
Yeah,
Huh?
Magic.
I wonder
Okay.
about that.
Can I have my back, please, Aury?
Yes, of course.
She starts rummaging through it.
I actually tried to take something out of it and put on the door so you could find that I was hiding in this room, but then the servant knocked.
I just want to say that the piece of the ball of string that you have is like a little bit shorter than normal.
Yeah.
I made a bit of a piece off and wanted to attach it to the door.
All right.
And hopefully you were investigative enough to see that.
Yeah, there's a fair chance. You know, I'm not particularly perceptive. I pull out the hand drill, which is like this drill on a hand. You can. What are the walls made out of?
The walls seem to be made out of stone.
So the chance of me getting through the wall to the adjacent room with this drill.
Not very big,
What about the ceiling?
especially
Yes.
not quietly.
What about the ceiling? Is that wood? I mean, the stone ceiling seems a little dangerous. I think it's possible. You have to make arches, vaulted ceilings. You could have that.
Mansions of
Um,
But it could also just be wooden planks.
it's not wooden planks. I think it would be, and I do not know if this exists yet, but it does now. Like basically plaster. You don't know what is behind there. The floors here, the floors in most of the mansion do seem to be made out of wood. Except like in bathrooms and such, where you would expect tiles, there are tiles. And around the fireplace, there are tiles. Most of it is wood, but it might just be like a thin layer of wood.
Yeah. And so there's a floor above us, and there were also those towers. Are those on top of that floor?
3 of them are. 3 of them are on top of that floor. And then there are 2 towers that are... I just realized something. And then there are 2 towers that are on the sides of the building. Like attached on the side.
So they go up from the ground floor on.
Yeah. They're not floating. They
are
go
those
up from the ground.
Would from looking outside, would they be around where the locked doors and the entrance hall were?
No.
Okay.
No. From what you could see from the entrance hall, it would seem that there's still like an entire part to the right and to the left of the building, basically next to the entrance hall.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's also that the both the dining room and the downstairs common room very clearly were a lot wider than the entrance hall. From if you look at the front of the building, one of the towers that is separate from it is directly attached to the left of the building, and one is all the way at the back on the other side of the mansion.
All right.
Okay.
And that one would actually basically be next to the southmost, or partially at least next to the southmost guest chamber.
Alright, we need a plan.
I think our best potential source of information is the guards.
Maybe. Source of information, yes. I think our best option is trying to take out people one by one. Between meals, since that seems to be the time where they congregate.
I don't think that's a good idea.
I mean,
probably the vampire lord here was able to notice Aury's presence within 10 seconds of him dropping the invisibility, if he wasn't already aware and just waiting for him to drop the invisibility.
Yes, but that is the servant's network in the vampire lord.
Yeah, but if we... I mean, he was able to notice Aury's presence. If a presence disappears, like we kill a guard or a vampire thrall, he will notice. We have to attack the master and take him out.
All right.
Try and get him alone. It's the only way, the only possible way we can get any kind of surprise attack him.
I mean, getting those 3 out of the way, Lyrie, Funris, and
then
Victor,
we have to find his coffin. Or we have to find his coffin first, but that might be very difficult.
Could maybe be enough.
Aury, make me a just a straight up intelligence check.
All right. Straight up intelligence. That's not a modifier. 14.
14. That would be enough to remember that the moment you were in that room, like before the servant, before you even heard the footsteps of the servant, you were rifling through a bag.
Ah.
That made noise.
And then look at the bag. He could have also just heard me ruffle through a bag.
I mean, it's not like there's pieces of metal clanking against each other in there. or anything.
Wearing a full plate armor and going through stuff.
He did also, I guess, only knew minutes before we were coming. Just worried that a mind-controlling vampire would have enough of a telepathic.
Yeah. Also,
sense of
The
mind.
fact that they seemed to buy that Aury was not at all with us while I was lying through my teeth, while he walked right with us, and they went along with it to some degree, to me, says that they try to have as much control over this castle as possible, but they don't. In fact, we have the vampire spawn that are frustrated with the decisions of the vampire lord, that is intrigued by us, and the guards who are generally oblivious and uncaring. I think the vampire spawn would be very interested in us removing the guards. There's clearly enough between them, so it's fine. And I don't think it's as much detecting a presence that they're doing.
Maybe.
In any case,
yeah.
I think first priority is we're not going to be able to do this in an hour or two. So we need to find a way to...
I'm worried about staying here too long as well, in case his mind-controlling effect will affect us at some point. So we do have to move quickly. Also, our protective effect of the potion wears off in 8 hours.
Oh, yeah, too fast.
So, honestly, I still think we should try and find the masked vampire, catch him alone, try and take him out, and then run if necessary, and come back to find his coffin.
All right.
I guess
how do we go about finding him?
We could ask a servant. That would be the fastest way. But he would probably know we're coming. Would he know we're coming? Would he be
Is there a way to lure him out? A way where we could be sure that we can lure him out?
Do I know enough about mind control magic, like to know if the vampire lord is could be aware of everything his people he controls sees?
Make me an Arcana check.
Awesome. Oh, damn it. That's not gonna be enough. I'm fuzzy on mind control. How does it work? I rolled an 8 total.
Yeah, you're.
Say that.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's a natural 2, but that's a 6 on
That's
the.
what I rolled as well. Wow.
Yeah, but that's a 6 on the inspiration die because it's a knowledge check. So that becomes a 16.
16. You know that it is possible. Oh.
Mind control is also not my specialty.
Yeah, you know that it is possible. You're not sure if, like, your doubts are mainly like, you would need to hand in something. You know it's possible. You know it's not perfect. It is not a hive mind.
All right.
We could run a test.
Get a sleeping potion on one of the
No.
servants.
A way that we can explain while maintaining the character. Accidentally knock one out.
Sorry.
How do you accidentally knock a servant out?
From behind, so he doesn't see that you do it.
Oh wait, I do know how you will accidentally knock a servant out. We just open the
I'm
door.
not sure.
Just
Open the door very.
Open the door very loudly.
I don't think we were on the same page, but that might work.
They're innocent, so let's not kill them, please.
I was not intending on killing them. I am intending on killing all the guards, if at all possible, because they are jerks.
Well,
And
that one of my plans. I mean, we have
That's
the
enough
guards
reason.
and this trio that does not like each other.
The trio does like each other, but the guards.
No, the trio doesn't like the guards, and I don't think there's a lot of love lost
You
the
think
other
we
way
can,
either.
get
You
them to fight each other?
that lady friend of yours. Well, I
Mm.
say friend with like the most disdain possible.
Mhm.
She was afraid we were taking over her position, right?
Yes, I have two thoughts about that.
Keep those thoughts, because either we get the guards on our side because we want to be the new trio, or we are so disgusted with the gods that we want to prove our innocence that we get rid of the guards for them.
Those two same two thoughts I had. The one where we endear ourselves to the vampires would be to show that we want to replace the guards. We are strikers. We're combats. We're very capable in combat.
Mm-hmm.
We can prove ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But display first challenge one of the guards to a match. And show that we are capable, accidentally injure them, rather severely.
Oh, we can do that. What was your
And
second idea?
my second idea was also to endear ourselves to the guards by trying to kick out the vampires.
Nix, what do you think?
Oh. I like the idea of taking them out one by one, but I think it might be really hard to do this and not be noticed in any way.
I don't want to do this unnoticed. I actually want them to notice us.
Work.
Either way is a way. I mean, we could tell the guards that we're trying to replace this trio. I'm not too sure if they're excited about that, though, because I don't think they care too much about who's in
I
power.
don't give a shit.
Here's what I think. I think if we kill the master,
Mm-hmm.
the guards might not afterwards care enough to try and fight us. Because their master's dead. They don't have an employer anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The thralls, I feel, are more likely to take it very badly that we did so. So I feel like we should focus on taking out the thralls.
All right. That means our story is that we get in a position of power in this mansion.
The problem is,
We could also try and buy the guards, actually. Bribe them.
how much money do you have on you? I've got almost 4,000 gold.
I same, I think.
Yeah, we have plenty of gold. That's
We've
not
not
the issue.
spent anything.
But I have a feeling that whatever gold we can get together, looking at this mansion, he can probably double it easily.
Or we can get them drunk. Do we have enough alcohol?
Did we leave it at the caravan or did we take it?
I still have like 3 bottles of whiskey with me.
I would also like to point out that there was quite some alcohol served at breakfast. If you want to find alcohol, you can probably get it here.
Additionally, there's two more people that we need to concern ourselves with: the butler and the cook.
The cook, the cook and the butler also. There's not a lot of love lost there.
Not with the guests.
Oh, that's what the butler either. I was
there.
passing there, and they said they had to feed another mouth, and he was
We
not
could
happy
hear
with
it.
that. Yeah,
We can hear
Um,
it.
I doubt
that was
they're
fun.
very
Yeah,
combat
it was
capable.
more that there didn't seem to be really much enmity between those two. Mostly because she also kind of noticed, and maybe I did not portray that well. The butler also didn't really like it, but it's his job.
Okay.
So there's not a clear enmity between
Okay.
those two.
Okay. Here's what I think. The thralls, they don't trust us anyway. The guards are probably human-ish, and we could fool them into drinking way too much alcohol and being out of the running and not incapable of coming running when we try to attack the master.
I mean, we have these that probably guards. Did the
We can
guards
ask
look?
for alcohol. We'll ask the
Yeah.
servants for a bunch of alcohol. We go and feed make the guards drunk. We bring our own bottles of wine, which we pour empty beforehand and drink from the bottle, pretending to also be drinking, something like that.
A lot of can go wrong in that plan.
There's a lot.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, at most we're bad guests, and the guards are really at fault for drinking on the job.
Yeah. I mean, did you see them eat and drink? They're gonna force us alcohol anyway.
That's why we're
I don't
really
see.
drinking fake alcohol.
I think endearing ourselves through the gods is a good idea. I definitely think so. The question is, what are they going to be able to do for us? If it comes down to a fight, if it comes down to making them drunk, that's going to be a very brash fight, which means Lord is going to come down from above and everything will quickly turn in favor of the vampires. That's not something we want, because then we get a full-scale battle. What we want is for the guards to help us separate the vampires.
Maybe. No, but the thing is, if the guards are... if the Lord gets angry because the guards are drunk, I doubt he's going to attack us for his guards drinking on the job.
No, I get that. But what is your
Also,
purpose in getting the guards drunk in that case?
Two things. Getting them drunk so they can't fight when we attack the Lord. Also, maybe give us information after we get them drunk about where we can find what's in the forbidden places, where we can find the master vampire, where we can find his coffin.
And getting the guards drunk first, then attacking the trolls could also work. It might just be enough. Then they don't come running. Once we get rid of the 3 trolls, it's only the Lord, well, the butler and the cook, but I'm hoping we can take those in the fight.
Right. Final problem in that case, the guards are likely to be either separate and at work, or in servants' quarters, where we've been explicitly told not to go.
We wait till lunch?
Does that seem like a good idea?
Are we allowed to walk the grounds? Are we allowed to
They
go
specifically
outside and walk around?
told us where not to go. If I'm assuming we can go anywhere else.
I mean, we can, touring the grounds might be good.
Maybe we can even find some guards there. And
I'd say we ask the servants for some alcohol and go take a look outside. We can even just give the guards alcohol and like hey, have some fun.
I mean, if you can imitate that woman and ask for the best glass of red wine, at least, then that might just work.
I know I can imitate it, but I'm pretty sure that if I do that, I'm not gonna get actual red wine. Gotta get something else.
Grape juice
Yeah.
in a wine glass.
I wish.
How about this? We ask for some, maybe see if they have some whiskey and apple juice. We'll drink the apple juice. We'll give the guards whiskey.
Yeah, sure, we can do that. I mean, asking a servant for something here that's perfectly logical. Then is nothing more than what makes sense.
But
so I don't think we need to. Mostly, I think we don't need to be too complicated about it.
Exactly.
Get them drunk.
We're currently portraying ourselves as a
Meal.
no, as morbidly curious noble people who are generally oblivious about what kind of terrible situation that they've worked themselves into.
Yes.
That
Also,
is kind of what we're portraying.
And I have to keep on the...
No, I don't think you should, actually.
You don't have to... Nobody believes that you're mind-controlled.
Really?
No. Nobody does.
You wouldn't be
So
at the
they
table
did.
eating if you were.
Exactly.
Where would I have been then?
You would have been ushered into servants' quarters, into uniform, and put to work.
But the
Probably.
Or you would have known.
the fisherman was also asked for dinner.
Yeah.
He was mind controlled.
Afterwards.
No, it was just drawn to the castle. He also didn't know what to do.
Just drop it. I think it's just suspicious. The guards didn't buy it, and we're trying to get jiggy
I
with the guards.
was so sure they bought it.
Yeah,
No, they literally told
It
you that
was-
you were
it
acting
was-
like a fool.
it was a really, really good, like, trying to convince.
It wasn't.
The situation just
Sorry.
did not allow it. It was a good attempt.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it was a good attempt, but we should. Didn't work.
So
Sorry.
for now, you're gonna have to keep up dim nobleman.
I can do that.
Which makes Nix the flavor of the month or something?
Bodyguard.
Yeah, but that does not get you in the same sleep.
Do I look like I need a bodyguard? Really?
Bodyguard stays in the would be close by to protect you.
Do I
Yeah,
need a bodyguard?
but
Really?
not in the same room if...
Then I'll be standing outside the door. I don't know.
Fine.
Look, let's
What,
try
you-
and get this done before the night falls.
You want to introduce him as like your illegitimate son or something? What's
No!
your plan?
I think that bodyguard would be viable. Like perhaps. No, I'm not going to do this because then I'm thinking with you, and I shouldn't do that as DM. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You will have to find out.
Right, you guys are not familiar with sylph culture. Monogamy is uncommon with us.
It is.
Yeah.
Something I didn't know.
I mean,
Okay. Well, there's no reason I can't be bodyguard and flavor of the month. So let's just.
That was mostly my reasoning. If we need to get you in the room, like that's a thing. It's if you guys, if
The
it makes you
important question
uncomfortable.
is then: are you Alys's flavor of the month, or are you Aury's flavor of the month?
Both,
Let's leave
obviously.
all of it
Have
open.
you seen
obviously.
Nix? He is adorable.
Let's leave all of this open to their imagination and not discuss it at all necessary, unless it's all necessary. All right. Let's go get some drinks and go have fun with some guards and not drink ourselves.
oh, Nick, you don't have a lot of experience with this, do you?
Again, apple juice, whiskey.
I'll take that answer as a no.
All right.
So
Then
that's the
let's
plan
head
you're
out.
going to carry out.
We're gonna try.
Find
Alright.
the first servant possible.
Yes.
Apple juice and whiskey and
But
Hold on.
because you're now going to set a plan into motion.
Mhm.
So this does feel like a good point to end the episode.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's fine.
It's a bit early. But otherwise, I feel that I would have to rush this, and I do not want to rush this.
It's mostly I agree that this is a good point. I just had so much fun role playing.
Oh God!
Excellent.
What the
Luckily,
fuck
we do this
get
weekly.
ourselves into?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we will be back next week because we do this weekly.
Yes.
That's what it means to do something weekly.
In the meantime, I think some of the old episodes are on YouTube. More will follow at some point.
Exactly. Also, perhaps there will be streams this week. I said last week that I would stream last week, and then I didn't because
Life happens.
Because life happens. Ugh, life. But we will certainly be back next week, Sunday, to continue with our adventures in Castle Noorgrim.
Okay. Apple juice and Noorgrim. Oh yeah.
Oh,
I will write that down as the episode title.
I did not
Because
write.
this is excellent.
I did not write any notes during this last planning phase, and I just don't know what I'm gonna have to put down because.
Getting the guards drunk with whiskey while we're drinking apple juice, or we try to sell
Right.
mind control but fails.
I mean, that was
this-
long.
Guys, this feels like something to discuss after
Yeah.
after the fact. So
Fair enough.
we
Oh, yeah,
will-
we're live. Hi.
yes, we're still live.
I sometimes forget this. I actually
We're
forget
not
it.
live. We're just live. So we will be back next Sunday, as I have said now repeatedly. And we hope to see you then.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.